So I'd like to welcome our second presentation of the evening. It is called Habits of the Mind, Waging War Against Yourself. Please give a warm Nerd Nite welcome to Omar Khatib.
Hello, fellow nerds. Good to see you all. How's everybody doing? Oh, like a little weak. Like, how are you doing? Okay. Well, my name's Omar. I'm going to tell you a little about myself and what I'm doing here. So, formerly, I'm from Texas, moved to Orlando. I used to be a medical student, left, trained biologist, went into marketing for surgical robotics, got me to this amazing city. Now, just recently, I went through a program called the altMBA, which is not really an MBA program, but it's really a program to teach you about a technique, about a skill of shipping and creating art in the business world and in your life. Our leader and creator is Seth Godin, who, in my opinion, is the best marketer of all time, and he's really an agent of change. And through the altMBA, I met a remarkable group of people, and part of it is taking a position of generosity and vulnerability. So I'm here tonight to share with you what I learned and essentially provoke some change. All of us are going to grow tonight, that's no doubt. The option is change. And for myself, I like to call myself an artistic scientist. As a scientist, I like to illuminate things and ask questions. But as an artist, I look to provoke change. And so that's what I'm going to do tonight. Thank you, brother. Does anybody know what artist made this painting? And throw a guess out there. Don't be shy. Any guesses?
Is it you?
No. Does anybody know who this is? Small hint, it's not Charlie Chaplin. This is Hitler. But before Hitler was Hitler, he was Adolf. And at age 18, he took all his inheritance, about 700 kronen, and he left to go to Vienna to study art, where he applied to the School of Art and later to the School of Architecture. And he had a passion, a gift. Has anyone heard or seen of any paintings of Hitler until tonight? But we don't talk about it. We know Hitler for something else. And the reason why is this thing called the resistance. And I'm not talking about a group of people. I'm talking about a state of mind that beat him. And this is something that Steve Pressfield in The War of Art talks about. And I'm going to make a bold statement that he wrote about in his book, but that for Hitler, it was easier to wage war and start World War II than for him to sit down in front of a blank square piece of canvas and create art that may not work, that people may not like. And the interesting thing is, Peter Verrick even points out that all the Nazi bigwigs, they all had passions in art, in music, in literature, philosophy, even, I'm quoting here, funk music. But we don't hear about that. But those passions were deeply rooted in them, and they were more ambitious about those things than they ever were about their political ambitions. But by that vulgar criterion of what we call success, they were all failures, and we know them for something else. Okay. I'm going to get this right. Now, the resistance, what is that? It's the most toxic thing on planet Earth, and it is the root cause of more depression and sadness and failure than poverty, disease, and I'd also throw in there erectile dysfunction. So, the thing about it is that tonight, after this talk, we all have to accept and wage a war and declare the resistance evil. And it doesn't matter whether you believe in God or the universe or anything. We have to recognize that the resistance is there to prevent us from reaching our calling, from doing the work, from doing the thing that's hard. And the universe, God, whatever you believe in, has endowed every single person on this earth, in this room, with genius. That's right, genius. And I know what you're thinking, Einstein really screwed that. He really screwed that one up, right? Like, idiot. But here's the thing. Genius is a Latin term, and it means an inner spirit that guides and protects us towards our calling. It's unbreakable and holy. And the resistance is what keeps that genius down. Seth Godin puts it beautifully. None of us need any more genius. We don't need to take another course. We don't need to say, oh, I'm going to write, but maybe I should watch that one documentary about that writer. I might get an idea there. You don't need any more genius. What you need is less resistance. All right, here we go. I think my slide got reordered, so user fault. Now, the thing about it that's hard, that real artists, real entrepreneurs know about, is this one secret. The secret is not creating. That's not the hard part. The hard part is the sitting down to create. It's shipping. It's making a promise and making it real. The world is full of ideas. Nobody cares. The market rewards execution and doing those ideas. The resistance is what keeps us from sitting down and writing. But what I like to call the habits of the mind, those are the things that are going to get us to sit down and write and make it real. Every single day, we wake up, whether you're a child, middle-aged, older, we wake up and we wage war. We are losing a battle, but we haven't realized it because we've gotten used to it. And that battle is within our mind, between not just the logical brain and the emotional brain, but against the resistance. And I'm not here tonight to tell you that you should be free of it. When you become enslaved, when you become a prisoner to something, you shouldn't dream of freedom. You should dream of the day that you get to be the authority, that you get to be the master. And in order for us to become the master of the mind, we have to wage a war. Because all these habits, the habits of the mind, they're just like chains. Every day we wake up and we don't feel them because they're too weak to be felt. But one day you wake up and they become too strong to be broken. Now, a little biology lesson. This is a triune brain invented by Dr. McLean. He's a neuroscientist. And these are the three types of the brain that I'm going to talk about. The top part, which is the neocortex, the thing that we're most passionate about, we're very proud, we're like, this makes us human. I'm going to take this mic off now. Okay. It makes us think. It rationalizes things. Below that, it's the emotional brain, the limbic system. And right below that is the lizard brain, the reptilian brain. So let's go down into that real quick so you guys know what it is. The first point of understanding your enemy is knowing it inside and out better than it knows itself. So the logical brain, the rational brain, all that wrinkly stuff we know of, a lot of marketers and salespeople know, left brain versus right brain. This is a part of the brain that was used in natural selection. Because some people decided to eat the fruit later on again, we know what happened there, and others decided, no, we saw what happened the first time, we should not eat that fruit. It's the mother of wisdom invention, and it's the father of abstract thought. Right below that, we have the limbic system. This is the emotional brain. This is the part that has things like the hippocampus, which is for memory, and the amygdala, which pretty much works for drive and emotions. If you take the amygdala out or you put a lesion there, and you see, let's say, a saber-toothed tiger, you're just kind of like, you become placid. When you all go to a family reunion and you see a person across the room and you say, oh, wait, your hippocampus comes up and says, hey, you know that person. I remember that person. That's your aunt. And then the amygdala pops in and says, yeah, but you really don't like her because she annoys the hell out of you. And below that is the lizard brain. This is the thing that is a primitive structure. You can find this in lizards, chickens, everything else, and even in human beings because we've evolved our brain. But if you go back down to the brain, this is where it all started. And the thing about this is that it has very simple functions. They call it the 4 Fs. Fighting, fleeing, eating, and fornication. This is like a kids program, guys. Come on. But every single day, there's a tug-of-war between these 3 things. Today, in 2016, even though these things kept us alive and helped us evolve, we have to deal with it, but we become complacent. We wake up and we say, lizard brain, you should really eat. If you don't eat right now, I don't know when we're going to find food again. You need to eat right now. Get the cupcake, get the cake, just eat all of it. We don't know when we're going to eat. The emotional brain, where the heart is, comes up and says, the last time I remember, The cake made me feel really good, and the vegetables were, I kind of felt good, but the cake made me feel really good. I think we should go with the cake. And the logical brain, the rational brain, the thing that we're so proud of comes in and says, guys, I was thinking about it. We have a family history of like diabetes, and maybe we should. And here's the thing: the logical brain always gives in to the emotional brain and the lizard brain. Why? I don't know. Science hasn't been able to explain it. I like simplicity. So if you look at this, look, the logical brain isn't even talking to them. He's looking, on the chalkboard trying to figure it out. These two guys are down here talking. So of course they're not going to agree with him. It's a 2-to-1 vote. He's going to lose every time. Period. Now, I want to tell another story. James Carr talked about this thing called infinite games and finite games. Finite games are like the Warriors versus the Cavs right now. It's a finite game. There's going to be a winner declared. There's a finite game that we play every day. This game of when you come to Stardust, where can I find a place to park? There's a game. You're looking for a space. I'm looking for a space. One of us is going to get the space and it's going to win. That's it. But an infinite game is something like juggling. You can't win at juggling. You drop the pins, you just pick them back up, and you start again. That's an infinite game. And when it comes to waging war, whether it's with a country, against a team, against yourself, there's two ways. The finite player looks at war and says, that state of mind, that state of a country, was invented by those people, and we have to kill the people to kill the state. There's going to be a winner at the end of that, and there's only one. The infinite player sees and understands that the conflict with state is with states, not the people that inhabit it. So you can wage war with a state of mind, state of other teams, state of a country, without hurting or harming a single one of those people. And I mention this because within our minds, even though our lizard brain, our emotional brain, our logical brain, all prevent us from doing a lot of things, they're there for a reason. They've helped us. They've gotten us this far. But we've enslaved ourselves to their bad habits. And if you use the habits of the mind, you can unite them all. And very much like this husky here, we can say the logical brain is out here leading, or at least we like to think it is. The middle ones here, this is the middle brain, the emotional brain. And back here is where it started all the lizard brain, and here's us. And sometimes the lizard brain freaks out, starts yelling at the top of his lungs, go left! Everybody goes left. This one goes to the right. And now we're a slave to all of this, and we're in prison. And we're shouting here, wondering why we can't get this under control and why we go off a cliff. But together, we move forward and we accomplish things. Because we're not going to war against the people of that state. The state that we're waging war against is the resistance. And that thing is like gravity, it's like fog, it's like taxes. Unfortunately, it's not going to go away. We have to learn to live with it and hone it. Now, there is a plan, but the most important thing is it doesn't matter what I do. Because there's a thing called the Steven Spielberg question, which is, you're the greatest film writer of all time, you're the great director, yada, yada, yada. What film lens do you use? What pencil do you use? What kind of, these are forms of hiding. Everyone's going to have their own thing. But I'm going to show you a few techniques to get you started. Number one, it's called mental contrasting. So some of us, when we come up with an idea to launch a business, we go over to the obstacles, where we dwell on the failures and the obstacles where, I've never done this before. What's my family going to think? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? And then we decide not to do it. However, on the other side, a lot of people indulge. People who want to make millions of dollars and have this great idea for the last 10 years they keep talking about, they indulge so much in this that they release too much dopamine, and it's as if they experience this success and realize it within their own mind. And what you should be doing is taking three types of success. Think about three things about how it's going to look like when it succeeds, and then go over here to where the obstacles are and think about three ways it will fail. And you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until you just create a tension, and then it springs you into action. You do this with your workout routines, with your friends, with everything. You practice this every day. Repetition is the mother. Wait. I'm going to be honest, I screwed that one up. So, repetition is the mother of wisdom, which means it's the father of habit, okay? Now, in terms of architecting success, you need a plan. You can't just think about this and just say, I'm going to do this. You need to write it down. Zig Ziglar is a great motivational coach, but he's the greatest salesperson of all time. Tony Robbins, Seth Godin, every salesperson, every person in business, this is our grandfather. Go check out his 7 ways to set goals and work through it. Now write these things down. I'm going to make a comment here. You see how there's a computer here next to him? He's not looking at it. It's off. The computer is there for editing, not for creating. Write things down. Beautify your life. Wake up in the morning. Susanna did a beautiful job with her presentation on languages. Change the words you use. Every morning, write 3 things down that you're happy and grateful for, and move on. Write it down. Make it real. And lastly, the 40-70 rule. The 40-70 rule says with decision making, you need 40% of the information to make a decision, at the very least, 70% to make it without losing an opportunity to win a war, to get a deal, etc. If you go past 70%, you lose. How do you know how to stay in there? It's based on intuition. And again, just because, I'm going to say this as a scientist, just because science hasn't been able to explain intuition doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Practice every day and you learn more about it. And to conclude, the key to all of this is to break through. As an artist, she has to keep herself to these rules, to these repetitions and these habits and actions. And you can't go back when your friend trips up on barbed wire to help them. As an artist, as an entrepreneur, the best thing you can do for them is leave them. Keep going forward and serve as an example with your art, with your business, and inspire them. And eventually you'll tame the lizard, and then you can have some fun like this guy. So who has the first question?
Woo!